All right, this is the Algebra 1 STAAR study guide, lesson 3.3 video. So I'm going to just walk through how to solve these problems and leave a few for you to do on your own, like I've been doing. And this is all about linear equations. If you remember, a linear equation is a type of function where the increase is constant. So it's kind of that rise over run, that slope idea of this graph going up and over the same amount consistently throughout the graph. And there's two kind of big points or pieces of information we have about any linear function, and that is going to be the slope and the y-intercept. And so this lesson is going to kind of talk us through the meaning of that and what it looks like in certain situations and like word problem type situations. But first, it just wants us to be able to look at 2 points and find the equation that matches those points. In other words, what line would cross these 2 points? And so we're going to be using the Desmos graphing system. I'll put a link in the video description. And we're going to put in Desmos, we're going to put in parentheses, just like they appear, these 2 points, 4, 1 and negative 4, 7. So let's go here, 4, 1 and negative 4, 7. And so we can kind of scroll over here and see, okay, these are my 2 points. So a couple things just to say right off the bat. We know that the slope of the line containing these points is a negative slope because it's going to go down across the graph. We can see that right there. We also know that the y-intercept is going to be somewhere in here, maybe around 4, because if I were to imagine a line that crossed through these, I would be hitting about right there. So that might help us, but we can also just simply type the equations in and figure out which one matches. So we're just going to go like that. So we're going to start with this first one, y equals negative 3/4 x plus 4. Oh, well, that's nice that the first one is the answer, but you can see this is what we're looking for. We're looking for the line that crosses the point, the red point and the blue point, the 2 points that we typed in, and we can see that it indeed does. So if I went and typed these other ones in, they would be somewhere else on the graph. They would be off in some other direction. So that's pretty much what you're doing there. So that one's easy. We can select the first answer choice already. Choose the correct equation for the line containing the points or the point and the slope. So this one's pretty straightforward too. I'm not going to do this one from start to finish, but first thing we need to know is that this statement here, m equals 4, means that the slope of the line equals 4. So that automatically eliminates answer choice A, answer choice C, because these two lines, B and D, are the only ones that have the correct slope. So from there, all you have to do is do what we did in the previous problem, put the point 2, 1 in, and find out which one of these crosses through that point. Because we already know the slope is correct. It's just a matter of whether or not it's plus 7 on the y-intercept or minus 7 on the y-intercept. And we'll know that by which one of these crosses this point. So that's how you're going to finish that one. All right. So the next couple 4 problems maybe, are going to deal with this word problem. They're all kind of deal with the same group of information. It says James walks every day at the same rate of speed. On Monday, he walked 3.5 miles in half an hour. Tuesday, it took him 4 hours to walk 28 miles. And on Friday, James walked 56 miles in 8 hours. What is his constant rate of speed? I feel like this should be more or less common sense. I don't want to get into too much detail here, but let's just think about this in a very basic sense. He walks 3.5 miles in a half an hour. So then how much would he walk in 1 hour? Well, if it's half an hour, he would walk twice as much in 1 hour. So twice as much would be 7 miles an hour. Another way to think of it is on Tuesday, he walked 4 hours and it was 28 miles. So that means in 1 hour, he would walk a fourth of that amount. Divide 28 by 4. Again, we get 7. So either way you look at it, without really doing anything complicated, it's 7 miles an hour. So that's kind of the first thing you need to get. So then it asks us to put that information into an equation. And so it should be pretty clear from what we've done so far that really it's clear that 7a, y equals 7x is the answer. And that idea there is because 7 miles an hour is his change or his rate of speed, that is equivalent to the idea of slope because he's changing 7 miles every hour. And so that is like a slope. It's a change or a rate of change. So that's why we choose this answer. All right. James walks, same information at the beginning. Is this a direct variation situation? Direct variation situation basically means that the change in one mirrors the change in the other. So if one goes up, the other goes up. It doesn't mean that they're the exact same amount, but it means that if one goes up, the other goes up. And also it asks, it says this thing about having a b value, b equals 0. So what that's talking about is the fact that he starts at 0 miles. He isn't starting from some point in the journey. His starting point is 0. So that's why it is a direct variation situation. But the main idea there is that when one goes up, the other goes up. When an hour goes up, the miles go up, not the opposite. And then I'm going to let you go ahead and do the graph. This will be one you'll need to do on your own, but just think about it this way. We already talked about the fact that he starts at 0, and we talked about that he goes up by 7. Okay, so you need to find the graph where there's a 0 at the start. It starts at 0, and it's going up, and that's all you need to do for number 6. So I'm not going to do that one for you. I'll let you know. I'm going to see you in the next video shortly.